What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to give you a good overview of what to expect for this upcoming week as far as data points and also just price action as well. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to this upcoming week, I don't anticipate any Lucid specific news or catalyst to come out. Of course, I think a lot of people are very much anticipating either news of the Sapphire or potentially as well the Gravity unveiling. So of course, opening up the reservations. But in reality, I think it's just going to piggyback off of the fear from last week as far as the Silicon Valley Bank and it's kind of defaulting and how that's really going to have a lot of repercussions throughout the economy. But more specifically, this upcoming week, there is a lot of big data coming out on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday is the dreaded CPI. So of course, if that is higher than expected, then anticipate the market to go full on ballistic and panic mode. And then on Wednesday is PPI and also retail sales. So a lot of big numbers are coming out. So potentially if CPI, for instance, is higher than expected, like I said, anticipate, for instance, the stocks and growth stocks such as Lucid to go very, very much down. But of course, for those investors that are long on Lucid and do feel that Lucid is a 2025 plus investment, then you're just going to love these discounts potentially. So once again, make sure you guys do your own due diligence because I'm not a financial advisor. I just list the points. You guys take from it what you will and make your own decision. But when it comes down to, like I said, this upcoming week, I'm going to give you the breakdown of the data points as of right now and potentially, like I said, based on everything where it could go. So I'm going to start off with shorts because shorts I think have been a thorn in Lucid's side for a while. Short score is currently 83, utilization is 100%. And as far as shorts, what they did on Friday, they returned 1.79 million shares. So as I've said on previous videos, I personally do feel that it's a little bit more of an overreaction. Of course, Silicon Bank kind of defaulting is a pretty big deal, but it's a big deal more so for a lot of the institutions and companies that have money sitting in Silicon Bank, such as Roku. So Roku currently has 487 million cash of its 1.9 billion sitting with Silicon Valley. So of course, that's pretty much a gone, unfortunately, aspect. But there's also Rocket Labs, Roblox. So I think a lot more of these are going to come down the pipeline and potentially who has money sitting with Silicon Valley. I don't believe Lucid does. So in general, I think that's a pretty good thing. So once again, this is where a lot of people might be thinking that it's an overreaction, such as even shorts. So the fact that shorts closed out their position during a very much big sell-off can be seen as bullish. And once again, kind of the fact that it's also an overreaction. When it comes down to the big money, you can see that on Friday, there was a lot more big money that was buying. And also, in fact, there was a one transaction after hours on Friday that was $5.41 million. So once again, I think behind the scenes, a lot of big money is more than happy to buy all these available shares and have been over the last couple of days as well, have been more than happy to buy all these available shares that is really being panic sold. And even looking right here, these are all the transactions on the dark pool from Friday. A little bit lower than expected, or at least the forecast, but I think that's normal because, like I said, based on the short activity, it's been and was quiet on Friday. And I'd just like to give you a good update as far as options activity. So this one's a little bit more mixed per se. So you do see a evenly amount of puts / calls being purchased. So in general, it's kind of normalizing right now. Over the last, let's say, I don't know, 1 week or so, a lot more puts have been being purchased, insinuating downtrend was anticipated, but this one seems to be normalizing. But keep in mind, when it comes down to options activity, this has no influence on the price. It's just rather a sentiment. So keep that in mind. On a side note, options activity is very beneficial and can really help with a downtrend, uptrend, various things. So you can definitely do a lot of things. So I highly recommend you guys researching options because it's a beast in among itself. But like I said at the very beginning, I don't anticipate any catalyst this week, and you can even tell based on this, there is no real articles coming out, no news, no nothing. So it's just stagnant. So in reality, I think that's just going to follow the broader market right now, even though it might not technically have any relevance to this whole Silicon Valley Bank. So once again, I'm not a financial advisor. When it comes down to the technicals though, I do feel that right now it is on a little bit more of a downtrend. But as of right now, it is currently trading right here between the S1 and the S2, which of course I think a lot of growth stocks are kind of within that range right now. But some things to really watch for this week, like I said, with CPI, the retail sales, also PPI, the $7.04 range is a very big point to watch for, because potentially if it does break that, then this is where it's a fine line between this and the new 52-week low. So it all literally comes down to the data, which individuals like myself, who doesn't really get involved as far as emotionally with stocks, you just like to look at the data. This is where you can easily predict where things are going. But because of, for instance, CPI and the huge amount of fear associated to that, because I guarantee if this is higher, then unfortunately the Feds most likely on the 22nd are going to most likely raise their rates to that 50 basis points. Even though technically I did see some tweets out there because of the whole Silicon Valley bank potentially going into default and things like that, or at least whatever they're going through. I think in general that was a very good opportunity for the Feds to really not do that 50 basis point, but once again it'll all come down to CPI, unfortunately. Once again, I think that's been the case for a while. And as far as some data points that I look for, so momentum, number of retail investors have just been getting out. Like I've been saying over the last little bit, it is currently at -3, so a lot of retail investors are getting out. I don't know if necessarily that is because they're being margin called or if they're just legitimately panic selling, but clearly behind the scenes right now, retail investors do not see significant value in Lucid as of right now. Stochastic is currently at 7, and there is no defined trend. It's very minor, in fact, so the red line is above the black, showing a small bearish sentiment behind the scenes, but still it is at 7. So theoretically, if CPI, for instance, is good, then this is where a lot of stocks and even Lucid will go on a very good value rally. So of course, let me know your thoughts on that, but most likely it'll just be a value rally, potentially up to this $8.20 range, and depending on the catalyst or the circumstances at the time, it could easily break over into that and spill into around the $9 range, but most likely I don't anticipate that happening. But overall, hopefully you guys got some value from this on potentially what to expect for this upcoming week. But I guess the name of the game is going to be volatility. So if you do believe, like I said, in Lucid long term, take advantage of these potential discounted prices, because years from now, 2025, you're going to wish that you did look back at this time and wish that you did buy more. So of course, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like a lot of good content in one area and analysis and so forth, SEC filings, transcripts, take a look at Seeking Alpha Premium. There is in fact a good 7-day free trial, link in the description below, and also put it in the comments. Just take advantage of it. It's pretty easy, and I actually really like it as well. But on a side note, don't forget to hit that thumbs up like I said, and with all of that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.